Okay, so we're live now, and so I want to appreciate everyone's uh, session. Uh, Fortunately for us, the time here is a bit strict, so we're going to keep it at 4 and then at 6. Prior before 6, the way our timetable is mind, we would definitely be heading before 6. And some of us are still on our way here. Funny enough, the timetables does not exactly separate because we probably didn't reach out to the school to give us this a free timing there since we were not exactly expecting to take so much time and we were expecting to do something bigger in future. So we didn't want to start now to start reaching out to them to probably break the timetable because that is very possible if it's going to be something huge. So I will be expecting, and we will be expecting a lot of them to join us shortly. There are also some of us who will be joining online as a result of one or two things. We African students we engage in a lot of other things, so some people would have to stream online, and so we would be going on. But my name is Wisdom Obina, and for this cycle, I am the uh, part of the executives, the president for this session, and other executives too are joining me. But we have one here, still there. He will be coming up in time too. But I mean that's still there. Yeah, and I hope that time will permit us to really introduce ourselves prior to the end of the session, maybe at the middle of the program, would have to actually um, get to know our names personally and maybe what we study, perhaps the country we represent. But I am Nigerian, so of course we have lots of other uh, countries represented in the group. I know the three faces I'm seeing here are three different countries. I know Dr. Wenga's country already. I want to believe Asiama is Ghana, but so I'm sure, but in time we'll definitely get to explore that. But the program was organized just to share. I had some students, especially or specifically master students, and then the PhD students really approached the fact that they had expectation and they really would have loved because of, for those who are masters from some African countries, some of them really wanted to progress to PhD and no idea for feel on how it works and what is even required if you are to succeed in this field. What is involved, what it takes to be in the field. So, and then the first year students also, of course, came across. We've had certain issues. We've had issues of plagiarism as serious as that. So there were pockets of issues here and we decided, okay, it would be really nice if the executive as organize an event to really enlighten a few of us who would be really interested, because we also have a good number of us who are already in our final already, some already continue the program. So some of us who would be interested in this, enlighten us on the tips and best practices to really succeed with it. And through research, because it's research based, especially in the UK, they don't spend too much time like the United States, where you sometimes you have 4 to 5 years. They really train you for the first year and all that to get into the process. I don't know so much, and that's why we've invited some of us here who've gone through the process, and they would be really sharing their secrets. Like I would always say, in stories of men, life secrets. And if you don't hear from them at times, you might go through the same challenges that some of them have gone through. They've seen it already, and they would be able to really share. On the other side, also there was the part of those who are asking what next after my studies. Can I really go on in this UK and do something meaningful. I'm doing my PhD. What next? What am I going to do? So we decided, okay, to still get someone who knows actually knows the system through and through. I know I didn't discuss that a lot with some people who didn't know him, but in time, we get he finished from Sheffield here, and he's also working in the UK as a lecturer. So he'll be able to show us, so maybe tell us a little bit of what has worked and all that. So without any further ado, I'll go through our agenda so we know exactly what we're doing. So um, we would start with succeeding in graduate school. That would be the first session for today. We would get to hear from one of us. George Asiama, Dr. George Asiama would be uh, would be sharing his own very deep secrets with us. And of course, Dr. Benga will take over to talk about opportunities after graduate school. After which we would have Dr. Phil, Dr. Philip share with us the coming challenges with graduate school research, of course, making the best of resources available, and then we get to take questions. And James, the secretary of the society, is also having some challenges. So please, he meets up of finalizes and joins us. He would be sharing about collaboration because we tend to go into a particular collaboration within us, those in the particular research area to work together and collaborate research projects. We'll be turning out like 4 papers before the end of the year. And we'll be talking and be all on and we'll definitely get for those who are in person, for those who would be there live, we'll definitely just go somewhere and have a drink. It's not like some other African countries, everything is ready. So here it seems you pick one from somewhere else. You can't even bring it here. So, but that's how we would go. So with no further with Dr. George coming on. Dr. George is also an no, he's not an alumni, so yes, of the University of Sheffield. He completed his own 5-year PhD program here and 3 years 4 years PhD program. I always be thinking with that of the US because that was what I was thinking about before I came here. So yeah, so he will be sharing with us success tips for graduate school, succeeding in graduate school, and I believe we all get to learn a lot, and we should keep our hearts and also do well to pencil down your questions. Do well to share it in the group for those in the group. If you're not, for those streaming live on YouTube, you just go to the comment section and put a question, and definitely be getting to ask you during the Q&A. So, Dr. George, can take over from here. Sure. Don't mind me. Please just do it.
Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening to us. And, um, so, as the president has already introduced, my name is John Isiama. Um, a recent from this university, currently working as a postdoctoral researcher at the Department of Politics, working on EU and the UK environmental policy. So, I've been given the task to share some tips um, about succeeding in graduate school. And yeah, before I even start, I think there's no one fits all solution for everyone. what have worked for me may not work for someone, and depending on the area that you are or the subject area that you are. So, just a brief background about myself. Um, as we already know, I'm from Ghana, and I had my first degree in economics from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, University of Ghana. Then afterwards, I had my master's degree from the Queen's University in Belfast, where I did my master's in sustainable development. Then afterwards, I came to the University of Sheffield, um, my research was more of disciplinary. So my home department was the Department of Politics. I had supervisors from geography and one also from the information school. And my research was on assessing the implications of Brexit on scientific evidence, expertise, and regulatory governance. So that is a brief about me, from economics to sustainable development, then to politics. So when you sum it, you see that I'm from social science, but then my PhD it covered a whole lot of things, a whole lot of things. So at the moment, at point, I was working on a bit of chemistry, a bit of public health, a bit of politics, a bit of economics, everything combined. So I'm just sharing the experience and what's me um, from Ghana to come and celebrate. What at all influenced me, and what were the challenges that I encountered through. And I think those who find themselves in my situation, or those who can relate, pick one or two things from it. So starting from switching from even coming from my master's program, what were the motivations? Most of the time, choosing the program, the key advisor everybody will give you is you need to pick a subject area or PhD research where you have passion, you're passionate about, or you have strong interest in. And that is one of the first thing I want to talk about. The challenge between passion and funding. Passion and funding. So if you are someone like myself, when I finished my first degree in Ghana from my humble home, so and I really wanted to have international experience. So balancing that, um, should I call it dilemma, or balancing those two components where I have passion in and where the funding was, it's became a challenge. But then that's where what comes my first step. So you need to do a bit of research. You need to read wide about the different areas. So my case, I pick where the funding was. I follow the funding rather than my passion. Even though right from infancy, I mean, I had interest in developmental stuff. But then, to be honest with you, when I was finishing my first degree in economics, I was more interested about the financial aspect, financial economics. Then, when I finished my first degree, I became a teaching assistant. In Ghana, you serve 1 year national service, compulsory for everybody who was graduated. And I was assigned to a lecturer who was teaching development economics. So um, he introduced me that right now that is where the funding is. If you want to really get funding, sustainability is a key word. So you need to do a bit of reading about it, and if you have some interest in it, then you can go in that direction. So I said, okay. Then I started reading about it. Then I developed interest in it. So I applied for it, then I got the funding. So that's one thing. Whether you have to follow your passion strictly or you can have another interest. And it comes back to my PhD, why ended up doing something on Brexit. So when I started my master's, I came with Commonwealth scholarship. And Commonwealth, it's you have to go back to your country for at least 2 years before you can come back. So after my master's, I went back to Ghana. Then I was working on some NGO, doing some things on the environment and rural economics. Then it occurred to me to do my PhD again. So I started searching for PhD again, and again, funding led me to. choose, choose the topic that I'm doing. And to be honest with you, when I was choosing my topic, in my master thesis, I did something on policy. I was looking at the policy, EU policy, it's called Common Agricultural Policy. So I was looking at 8 parts on Northern Ireland. And so when I chanced upon my PhD topic, it was about policy. So I said, okay, so I have interest in policy. I've already researched in policy, so I can do. But to be honest with you, it was totally different thing altogether because my master's thesis was about the policy that has already been framed, talking about implementation, but the PhD was looking at the policy formulation, and it has other branches to looking at the scientific evidence aspect of it. So it goes deep into the physical sciences where I am social science background. So that was where the challenge began. I fully funded it where, where I never dreamt of coming to. So the first challenge that I faced during my PhD was how to narrow down even my research topic. And I think that's the first key thing that I want to share with everybody here. Those who have started already also tell you that it's a challenge. And especially if you are going to a field that is completely new to you. So my case, I have 3 teams. My PhD um, research covered 3 teams. Research as one, scientific evidence and expertise as one, then agri-food regulatory governance as another one. And to be honest with you, I had no prior knowledge about any of these three. The only thing I knew that was about the common agricultural policy. It was it's already implemented, and I was looking at the challenges in its implementation. So it was different thing for me. And so when I started, the key challenge in the, I think yeah, I'm narrating my story, but then bringing it all the points. So I think, yeah, you can show them the for University of Sheffield first year you have to pass confirmation review. I mean, for those who might not be familiar, it's um, kind of a progress report. You need to demonstrate to your department and the university that you've really had all the things that you need to succeed in pursuing the research. So the first, you have to do it within it vary from department to department, but then my department, you had the option of doing it either in May or September. And when they make it, I didn't even know what I was really doing. So that is the key challenge. And my first advice is when it starts, you need to read as much as you can. And you need to take notes. Any silly idea that comes, it matters. You might need it in the subsequent years. Because there were certain things when I started writing and I thought, oh no, this will not be useful. You read certain things and you say, what will I do? It doesn't fit in any part of the research or but then as you progress, you see that the research you the research parts, you will start from here, and you wind, you go then before you realize you come back to where you started. And you are turning to a different place. So everything that you read, so far as you think that is related to the topic, you need to put them down. That's the thing. So you just don't read the literature. Then you have to make sure that you are jotting, you are putting everything that you read. You take notes, write summaries about research papers and the books that you read. It's very, very important. So that's the first thing, the first challenge that I encountered, and how I managed to do it through reading. So you need to read a lot, take notes before you realize everything is coming into shape. Okay. So I come back to the next challenge. The next challenge is about time management, how to manage time in especially in the UK, that is within 3 years. If you're lucky, you're funding it for 4 years, then you are good. In my case, my PhD was funded by the Grantham Center. The Grantham Center, they have other training that you need to participate because
Was
they
that different from doctoral training?
yeah, that's different from it.
It's a
Grantham
separate.
has a separate program. So they've incorporated leadership training into the PhD program because the goal of the scholarship is for you to become a sustainability activist. So they have separate programs throughout the first year that you have to combine with your other PhD activities. So that was the challenge, how to combine all those things. And these readings completely new field to me. And that's where you need to have proper time management skills. Because in the UK, not like as Wisdom was saying, not like America, where you have the first 2 years doing some trainings and coursework. Here, that's straight from the research. So right from the start, everything is on you. So you need to get proper time management skills. I think that was what I did. The first thing I did was having a comprehensive time plan. So I draw, I have my annual goal. This is what I want to do. Then I divide it into monthly. Then I have my week. That was what I was doing. And the weekly goals and the objectives that I set for myself, definitely you will not be able to be achieving it. So you keep reviewing it each time that I set this time plan for myself. Within this week, I couldn't achieve it. So you review it as the week progresses. And the funny thing is, I'm now working with my one of my PhD supervisors. My postdoc is with her. And when I started, I set my time, my schedule to her. Then she said, George, I know your time. What happened was right from the start, I was not able to meet most of the schedules that I set for myself because I was so over ambitious. So I think that's the main reason why you need to be reviewing your time plan. If you are not able to achieve it this month, the monthly goal, then you need to allocate more time to yourself. You should just so over ambitious and end up not achieving nothing. So I think time management is one crucial thing that you need, especially if you want to succeed in 3 year or 4 year PhD program in the UK. So that's my first, the second challenge and how I was able to address. And the other thing too, other challenge is conflict with supervisors. In my case, I didn't have, it wasn't that intense. But then with the Grantham Center, those of you who might have been familiar with it, it comes with its own pre-designed projects. Then you apply just like I think yeah, most of the PhDs in Sheffield it goes that way. So the supervisors have already designed the project, but when you come, you need to take it as your own. And sometimes the supervisors might have their own direction that they wanted to take the project, but when you come, you need to own the project. The project belongs to you now because you are the key researcher. So that is where the challenge comes in. Sometimes you want to go to this direction, then the supervisor wants you to go to this direction. It becomes a huge challenge. So um, how do you address it? You need to be able to develop your argument properly and try to convince them. Some people ended up having big issues with supervisors. And I remember one of our cohort members submitted the confirmation review materials without the consent of the supervisor. And it's I, I can tell you that if you don't agree with your supervisor, or if you have grudges with your supervisor, it will be a hell for you throughout the supervisors play a huge role. So you need to own the projects, but then try as much as possible to be in line with the supervisor. Even when sometimes what we are saying is a bit offline, which you know that it might not. You need to try to convince them that the reason why you think that yours is or your direction will be the fruitful one. So yeah, you should be mindful of conflict with supervising, and you should be able to develop proper ways to manage it. Sorry, how do you Okay, so practical steps. What? And in my case, it was even more challenging because of supervisors from different backgrounds. Even so, there was one meeting, and I was fortunate because in most of my meeting with supervisors, we were always together. I never met this one separately and this one separately. So there was a case that we met, then I brought my idea. Then among the three, they started arguing among themselves. They said, I know I told you to be laughing at us. Then look at them, they are competing among themselves. So in my case, I think what helped me was try to argue my case like with evidence, try to persuade them to believe that what I'm doing is the right thing. Even and when they bring certain things, and I think I need to give them concrete evidence or concrete reason why I think in a respectful manner that with this your suggestion, I think it might lead to this. So and yeah, so it got to a point that some of the supervisors would say, I think that you know better than I do now because yeah, some of them they had knowledge in the pits of it. But right now I know one of my supervisors for basic, other one on the scientific advisory system, and the other one who was focused on the agri food. And I own the project now. I've been able to combine all the teams together. So the Brexit woman may be talking about other things that she thinks might be useful, but then I will tell her that if I do this, it will not fit well in this scientific advisory system. So the key thing is try to persuade them with what you know and how you think their suggestions might not be useful. But then I must say, you still there were some people that brought certain things that I think they were just nuances to the feed. So in the end, there were certain parts of the dissertation that if we were left to me, I would have taken them out. But then I needed to find a way uh, like a compromise to address it. So I think yeah, that's the best way. You need to get the convincing reasons, and in certain situations where you think you've done what you could, but you couldn't convince them, then find a way to um, adjust your thesis to fit. Because you, by all means, you need to be in line with them. Because even at the Viva, there are certain times that the supervisor's input they count. So yeah, I hope I've addressed that one. Okay. So yeah, those were the key challenges and personal challenges. I did my PhD during the COVID time, so COVID was a huge challenge in itself. I needed to go for field work. I needed to do it in the 2020, the time that I had an ethics approval and everything. That was when the COVID came. So I needed to adjust everything at that instant. So I instead of personal interview or face-to-face interview, I needed to adjust it to online. So that was a huge problem on its own. But then we managed through. So for COVID time, practical solution to it, I think um yeah, I think the time brought itself for you to adjust. So I don't know the practical thing that I can talk about with the COVID, but then it came with challenges because when you're doing reschedule your research plan to online, the participants, if you are recruiting the people, the response rate was very low. So I needed to send a lot to people, and then I think the response rate was just a little over 50%. Some of them will say, will not even respond to you at all. And there were others who say, oh, due to some circumstances, I can't attend to it. So those were the challenges. And how was able to address was to increase the number of um, participants that I wanted, the recruitment. I needed to broaden the scope in order to get uh, people to recruit for the project. So yeah, those were basically the challenges that I faced. And here are my key tips that I'm giving to anybody who's about to start or going through. I've already talked about time planning and time management. You need to have a proper time planning. And other thing, you need to rewrite your research proposal in, and the project plan as often as you can. When as you progress, different ideas will be coming. And if you're able to rewrite it at every stage, you get to this stage, rewrite it, then you see that it's coming together. Even though sometimes you may think that you've there from um, you've diverged a little bit, but then when you rewrite it, then you see that it's the framing will be very important. The framing become very good for you. So rewriting it and trying to explain it to even those who are not in your area that want to really help. If you're able to explain your research, if you're doing public health and you're able to explain it to someone who is doing music in the language that the person will understand, that is very important. And sometimes when you're explaining it, it occurs to you that there were certain things that you yourself you have not even thought of, but then it comes as you are trying to explain to a lay person. So that is one important thing to, as we go along, rewrite it, explain to people. And if you, yeah, I think that comes to my next point. You need to get connected to the research groups and the networks. It is very, very important, and I think Dr. Venga will talk a bit on it. When you're able to those networks, it goes even beyond the school. After your studies, you might need it. So you need to develop that networking, and it includes these meetings that we are doing. And by time, I think Apple I served as president during the COVID time, or the COVID time, the president during the COVID time. So it helps you to connect with people who are doing related research and also in trying to do certain things that are like in your research area. So that's one that I'll give to you to remain in touch with the networks because yeah, during my interview for this postdoc position, um, those some they were part of the questions that they asked. Uh, do you still have a network that you are in that you think will help you in developing this uh, research? So it's very important to maintain your networks, whether Africa network, whether specifically to your research groups too. I think it's very important. Then okay, thank you. So my other thing too is that you need to develop other interests aside your PhD. The PhD work sometimes becomes too stressful, and if you don't take your time, you'll be your mental health will be somewhere. So you need to develop other interests. You need to get time. out of your PhD within the week, you need to set time that this week I'm not touching it. I'm doing this. I'm attending this event of my PhD. Not every day, every time that you have to. Because if you don't take it, then yeah, if you concentrate so much, the PhD will give you it will give you headache. You don't even sleep, and every now and then you something will pop up in your mind. But then you need to develop that habits that I set this time for myself, and doing other things. I'm reading other books. So for me, for instance, I started learning French, and so the French was completely outside my PhD, and I'll be attending the French classes at the how do they call it? The language center. So yeah, so that's one thing. Then I started learning some musical instruments, plays my guitar and other things. So those were the things that kept me off of my PhD, and I think it was very useful. It's so mostly weekends, PhD, and I'll be doing all those stuff. So when I begin the week, my mind is always fresh. So I think yeah, those are my key tips that I'll give to you, and I hope it's useful.
Okay, please, everyone, it up. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. George. Please, if you have any other questions, you could still write it down and just pass it on, and we would take those questions in time. All right, with no further ado, because of our time, we'll definitely move on to the next section. We'll be inviting Dr. Benga Shadari. He's currently also, like I mentioned, he's also someone who finished the field, did his own PhD here, and rounded off some good number of years ago. He's currently a lecturer at Arden University, and he will be giving us some of the things that worked for him, like I would always say. But definitely, he's someone who is very much experienced, both as a student, as a researcher, and now as a lecturer. All right, Dr. Benga, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I would like to first of all thank everyone, particularly the executives for organizing this, and also to just thank you very much. I'm glad that you mentioned your university. I was going to mention that. So George was not just the president of EPOG, he was also the president of the Ghana Society. And a couple of so a little bit about me. My name is Benga. I came to the university as a mature student. So when I started my PhD, I was in class. I was doing PhD with almost 60, so just so I was doing PhD with people who are the age mate of my daughter, my son and my daughter, and all of that. So but it didn't face me a bit. But I'm glad that I'm here because one of the things that I decided to do when I came back was to set up a society, which is a and I would like to. I'm having good thoughts because this is one of the dreams that I dreamt of. I just remember some of the people that when we were sitting around. Actually, this affected my PhD. You don't know. Setting up people, any job you know is realized. I spent 6 years in my PhD because of people. So when I started, I went to the university vice chancellor and I told him that, I just challenged him have anything more than students. And then he was looking at me and then I told him, then he found out that I actually finished India ahead of him at the university. So we became friends. And he gave me a lot of access. And I used that to my maximum advantage. I was bullying them. I mean, I was doing a great nice for him just to get them to support him. Because, it was important that we had a society for Africa Caribbean students. It wasn't in existence. I mean, you will have thought a university like a red brick university, a Russell University like Sheffield, top 100, top 75, will have in place something, a society to cater for people from Africa and the Caribbean, and they never had one. So it was a tough battle, and we were able to win the battle. And I promised myself that I would dedicate the next 10 years to it. So I think I've done well for 6, 7 years. So And I'm so glad to see many people. I know the people cannot be here, but I went through a lot, and was a and I told him to join. And I was doing everything. I had to put aside my age, forget about that. I had to become a student. I was looking at myself and I said, yeah, so I'm so happy, basically. So let me just start. Then the second thing, feel like I just quickly answer the question on him and answer the question on the conflict with the pages for us. I know a lot about this. I'm not someone to shy away from conflict. But and yes, one of the things that we wanted to do with hip hop was to help PhD students struggling with their supervisor because we got that department. So part of the reason why I said this is what I was actually going about to different departments, engineering, name it, I mean everybody, sciences, medicine, many of them are still on the path, some of them have left. And finding out and resolving conflicts for PhD students who are either at risk of losing their funding or at the risk of being kicked out or are having personal, relational relationship issues with that crisis. So I also had one with my department. Maybe I'm sure the tell I was assigned to supervise. Like I said, my PhD, I didn't know anything about my PhD. So if you're doing PhD, be ready to explore complete new territory. I came from economics background. I was a business man. I was in finance, I was in banking, and I wanted to do something totally different. And I ended up in Sheffield by accident. So that's another story. Then I was given a topic. I wanted to be a topic of public. Said nobody could do it in sociology. They told me to do something else. And I was struggling with these two ladies. One of them happened to be a Ghanaian sister. The only black Ghanaian lady we had in the department. And then another lady who's like professor. And they would be challenging me when I write. They would say I write like a journalist, blah, 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 all kinds of things. So I told them, I said, I'm sorry, you can't even be my supervisor. I told them, you cannot be my supervisor. And he asked me, I said, because you don't have experience. They don't give me. I said, what year did you graduate from university? That was the first thing I asked Magella. She's a professor now. She saw me some days ago at the conference. She actually told me I was shocked. I said, Magella, you graduated in 1990. I graduated in 1985. If I was to have a PhD, I would have had a PhD. That's number one. I've had more than 20 something years experience. So you cannot tell me I do not have experience. I just went straight to report her. That's why I said I use my advantage. I use the leverage of knowing the people. I used it to the maximum. I went to the department. I said, I don't want my supervisor. I told them I don't want my supervisor. Because if you are giving me problems, and the part of the reason they were giving problems was because I was doing a business. They didn't understand the vision. I came to this university with a divine mandate. You don't have to believe it, but that's to set something like this up and to do other things, to open up doors and opportunities for people. That's what I've done all my life. So nobody's going to stop me. Eventually, I had made friends in the department. So that's important. If you want to go that tragedy, make sure you have something with it. Don't follow I'm not suggesting, I'm not recommending my approach to you. It's a very frontal approach. It might not work for you, but I already made and I was carrying them along. I was telling them my issues. So the friends I made in the department actually helped people, also helped me. So they were able to negotiate the way out for me. They didn't like it. They didn't want to stay in the department. I said no. And they actually admitted that they didn't. They didn't even know my figure. They didn't know what I was researching on. And I was having a lot of problems with them. So I know that conflict, but that was my way. What I would say to you is this: the principle, if you're doing PhD, manage your supervisor. Your supervisor is like your boss at work. It's like your immediate supervisor at work. That's why they're called supervisor. So they're also like supervisor when you are place of work. You need to manage them. You owe it to yourself to manage the people you're working with, so that you are not having constant struggles and conflict with them because it's not going to help your page. You need your mental agility to be able to do your page. You need to also your emotional stability as well. You don't want to be having issues with them all the time. And one of the things you need to understand about page is that 50% of your pages depends on your supervisor. So if you start from that premise, you won't have a problem. However, you think they are not helping, seek a way out. We know people in this university that we have helped move them from another department, from one department to the other, from one guy in politics. We move them out because politics is difficult. I'm even surprised that, I mean, I'm so happy that you are still there. Close to you, I'm really happy because one of the best in the world, not even the UK. The politics department in Sheffield is one of the best in the world. So if that's you will never find many black people there. So I'm happy he's still there. I'm happy he's representing us. I'm happy he's doing well. He got the PhD there. And I'm really happy about that. And where's Gloria? Gloria also got that PhD.
Where is in the services?
She had oh, okay, sorry. So Gloria too and she had a PhD, no correction. Excellent. And she was and politics. So I don't know people. This Nigerian guy was in fact two. As a Malaysian girl now she graduated 2 years ago. She came to my department. So we were able to resolve that. This is why you need this society. So I want to start from there. If you really, really want to succeed, you need this kind of society because you need the support that it brings you, the strength and what's the word? The fact that you're able to belong to a community that can rally around you here from ever around any problem. All right. So let me quickly move forward so that I don't waste time. I'm supposed to talk about post-graduation opportunities. I'm going to try and be short because I've divided into three separate strands. Like the first thing I want to talk about is what everybody knows, the generic thing that you need to do when you're looking for when you want to go into when you want to transition from PhD or postdoctoral, into your working life, career life, and all of that. So the first thing you need to actually do for yourself is to be able to. Sorry, I want to go back to my notes. Is able to really identify what works best for you. What works best for you is what you need. One of the things that a PhD or master's or a degree from a university like Sheffield will give is the ability to be able to do so many things. Um, like George mentioned, when we were doing PhD, there was a doctoral school which also was offering us leadership courses and training and also providing avenues for us to teach the eligibility to mark scripts and all that, and to even teach us, put us on the GT program, the associationship and all of that, which gave us opportunities to acquire new skills. Now, apart from the skills that you gain through conducting pure research, which is being able to undertake research, type and all of things, all of the George spoke about, you will also gain soft skills which comes through, relating with other students, but from other departments. And it's always good when you're doing your PhD to look beyond your department, to look outside of your department, to try to actually embed yourself in everything that the school offers. So a lot of the students that we were even having this conversation before we started, a lot of our students, a lot of African students, they don't get involved in so many things outside of their normal academia, academic thing, like Chinese students come in, organize study trips to Lake District, they will go to Newcastle, they will go to places. These are things that you need to learn. And we don't do that often enough. And that's exactly why it's sometimes when we transition to jobs in the UK, we struggle on the cultural side of things. So it is very important. So the point I'm making is to try to become culturally aware, culturally knowledgeable, culturally sensitive, and culturally adaptive. So I've said one thing. So I mean, I can go over it if you want me to go over it. You must be culturally adaptive. You must try to embed yourself. See, maybe I'm talking as a sociologist. I didn't start life as a sociologist, but I'm now one. Okay, I got the PhD in sociological studies, but I didn't want to get a PhD in sociological studies anyway. I have a master's, I have an MPA, I have a background in banking, I have a registered stockbroker, I'm a financial person, but now I'm into social protection and social policy and whatever. I never in my wildest dream thought I would end up this. But that is what cultural adaptability does to you. It allows you to embrace things that would otherwise have been alien to you. So you need that. If there's an environment that offers you that on on a very massive scale. It's a UK environment. That's one thing about UK. It's a very, very rich environment to embed yourself. But the problem is that many of us live in silos, contain ourselves. And we don't reach across the eye. We don't break out of our shells, of those little container that you shouldn't do that. Get out of it. If you really, really want to succeed, that is your first step to succeed. Because you might end up at Alton, you might be the first black. In most of the places I work in the UK, I'm either the first place at black or the first Nigerian to work there. And I'm asking myself why. But actually, I began to realize cultural, I have honed or sharpened or polished my cultural sensitivity. Everybody has got it. Everybody has got it. So tonight, I want to connect you back to that. It's like a little antenna that is buried inside of you. You just need to switch it on and it comes out. And you can pick it. You've got it. Don't contain or box yourself. Reach across the heart. Make friends with people in your department that are non-Nigerians. That is one way you can open yourself up to the world that exists outside of Nigeria. Don't do everything Nigerian. There are many people in my department. We don't even have any Nigerian in my department anymore. I was discussing this yesterday with one of the lecturers there. There are many people that were not Nigerians in my department. I met them. I befriended them. And when I was in my PhD, I was able to travel. George will test statistics. I don't think there's anybody that has not paid in Sheffield that I ever traveled like I traveled. I never paid a dime. All the travels I made when I was doing my PhD, of course, I was a British citizen, so that helped. But I never paid a dime. I went to Hong Kong 107 times. I'm even doing business with them now, based upon APOG. APOG is known now, and let me just say that APOG allows you to gain. So if you are leaving and you don't put APOG on your CV, you are doing yourself. Please make sure you put it on your CV. The job I am doing at UCL now, I got it through because of APOG. Because one of the guys that was made of Michael, maybe you know, his PhD at he lectures in UCL. And he went and publicized APOG on their website. And somebody contacted me and we're looking for somebody. And today we're working with them on a project that is 80 years. And it is really, and we're looking for people to add to the project. So if you think that you are doing APOG a favor, no, you are not. You're doing yourself a favor. So I need to put that out there. So I have a lot of things to say, but I want to say about it again because I don't want to waste time. I can have, I think that also be more, make it more interactive. I don't know. I mean, how many of you have heard of Mark Presky? Have you heard of Mark Presky? Mark Presky? You can Google it. Mark Presky talks about digital natives. Now, this is the next point I'm making. You need to build your digital competency, digital literacy, and digital abilities. Okay? Mark Presley talked about digital natives. Digital natives are people that have this natural, natural love for, maybe some of you have kids, my daughter, my kids, my children, they're the ones telling me, Daddy, you don't know how to do this, do this, do this. So they have these quick fingers with technology. Okay, they're very smart, they are loud, they're very adaptable. Digital natives. So digital natives, my question in 2001, he said are people that have this extreme, very versatile, understanding and competence and the ability to uh, technology and digital tools. And then digital natives are digital citizens. And then you have digital migrants. I am a digital migrant. A digital migrant is someone who is trying. It's just like you see, think of your mind, somebody migrating from Africa who wants to come, who wants to Japan. For those of you, I don't know whether George has had the word Japan is a phrase in Nigeria now that's common. Japan means to flee, to leave Nigeria. So a digital migrant is someone who is trying to embrace technological, tools, knowledge, expertise to build his or her competence. So that he can become a citizen or a native. Now, that is what you need today. If you really want to succeed in this era, If you don't have digital competence and digital capabilities, my brother, you need to start developing it. And I have a lot of sites that you can actually register to start doing it free. There's this just they've got the digital capability framework and so many others. I can share them with you. I can put it on the. I told Wisdom I'm going to put them on the platform so that nobody has to go and just so you can. So you have all these little things you can do. You can do courses. You can assess yourself, and you have to be honest. You do an assessment. It will tell you the level of competence where you need to start from, and it will open you up to pathways how you can build. That is what you need. If you have that, let me tell you to help you. And it has helped me. I teach you. When I started teaching 3, 4 years ago, I didn't even know what Wakelet was. I didn't know what Padlet was. I didn't know what tingling was. So there are many tools I'm going to share with you that you can even use. I have a lot of them, so I won't have time. I will just put it on the platform. So many tools that I now use in my teaching. So many tools that I've learned. I'm actually doing a master's degree course right now, sponsored by my university. I teach at 2 universities, Harden, where I'm full time, and then I teach at Buckinghamshire University. And I use a new course which I accepted, and I'm not teaching master's today. I'm teaching police all through. Yeah, I'm teaching full-time police. All of my master students, 27 of them, are all police officers who are sponsored master's program in the School of Education and Security. And if anybody told me I'll be teaching police or teaching security, but you see, God always connects you to something. We know that the first and the only fraud conference that was held in Nigeria was organized by me in 2004. Soludo and Obasanjo gave me 10 million to run it. Yes, you can Google it. You will see my name is there. And I didn't know when I was doing the fraud conference because I was at NCFA. I didn't know I would be teaching criminology. I didn't know I would be teaching fraud. Can you believe it? I didn't know I would be teaching crime. And if anybody had told me, well, you see, everything came to roost. So now I teach crime and I'm loving it. I'm loving crimes, forms of crimes. I'm loving environmental criminology. I'm teaching it and I'm loving it. And I didn't even study criminology in my PhD. Hello, never did. But when you do sociology studies, you are taught everything, on that in that discipline, that vast body of knowledge. So it's helpful. And the reason why I'm able to teach that is because I'm able to transfer the skills I already had. So all those skills that I had when I was working when I had a finance company in Nigeria, Investment Alliance, when I was protected. That's my cousin there. He knows me. He knows if you don't want to know anything about me, ask him. He'll tell you. When I was bringing people to train them in the UK in 2001, in 1997, when I was training for one company in telecoms for an MTN engaged me to go to South Africa. And I was flying. And when MTN came to Nigeria, I was waiting for them. So I just went to their office. I said, I can help you. They were like, this guy. I went and read up on the internet everything about telecoms. When I sold it to MTN, MTN was like, we don't have anybody in Nigeria. You're the person in Nigeria. I didn't know anything about telecoms fraud. But because I used to come to England, my late wife was born here. I used to come to England. I used to read. That time we were using one-to-one. One-to-one is now, I think they are now either through the phone or one of these. I think they are now T-Mobile. So, yeah, they became T-Mobile, and I don't know what they are now. One-to-one telephone then, and then I started learning, reading magazines, all these magazines. Come to England in 1995. That's when I was just reading. And then I started writing everything down. And then I went to MTN, and MTN sent me to South Africa. Boldness, smart. I was just, and that's how I started teaching fraud. If you go on some of MTN, you will see someone by name teaching fraud. And now those things I taught many years ago, I'm using it. And I taught myself. So you can transfer your skills when you do. How do you transfer your skills? Look at yourself and say, if you're not a digital migrant, if you're not a digital native, accept being a migrant. It's okay, it's fine. You can. Many of you are going to have British passport at some point, and I pray it to happen to you. I didn't have a British passport. I didn't want to live in England, to be honest with you. But when my wife died here, I just said, okay, I'm going to go back to Nigeria again. So I stayed. I got my British citizenship, and I never wanted it. I never wanted to live in England. I believed in Nigeria, but now I don't anymore. Sorry. So when you come here, expand your horizon. Because if you can do that, then you are giving yourself that opportunity to excel. Because if you don't change your mindset, so that's the last thing I'm talking about. Change your mindset. If you don't change your mindset, you don't change the way you will view things, you might be limiting yourself. You might actually be sabotaging yourself. So self-sabotage is a problem a lot of us suffer from. And sometimes it comes from what I call the imposter syndrome. Many of you think, oh, because I know PhD, I'm going to be called a doctor. People will think I know so much. No, actually, when you have a PhD, you don't know much. You just started. Like George said to you, his PhD, he never knew anything about his PhD. What I did my PhD on, I never knew anything on it. But I read it for 6 months. I was reading I didn't know anything about it. By the time I was ready for my confirmation, that these people that came, they were like, what happened? I smashed it because I read. I opened my mind. I was asking questions. I was doing. I connected with people in the industry. I even did the crazy thing. I connected with people in the industry, and that was how I was able to go to places in Norway. I got all those. I beyond after the university. And when I got that opportunity to go to Norway, I had to go to the university. I said, "You give me money to start a job, and I used my own money. You have not required my money. Can you sponsor this?" And he said, "Okay, look at it." And he gave me 2,500 to go on a summer school. I went to a summer school in Norway for a whole month. I was just enjoying myself. And I like traveling by the way. So, oh, I learned a lot. Thank a lot of people. I sat on my bike was at that conference. So maybe you've had he's an economist. We had a serious argument in that place. And he actually looked at some of the things I've written. And he said, this is why have you thought of this? Of this? Initially, I was like, when he now said, don't worry, okay, I'll go back. And after he sent me almost 30 pages of corrected aspect, and he actually did the work for me. Do you know that I put that in my thesis? And when I did in my thesis, it made my thesis better. So when they were even looking for I didn't put his name. I was scared. But then all the people that we listed, they were looking for they were not available. Then my professor said, we need to go for this Amali Barretos. I was afraid. The first thing he said, "Oh, it's you. You have passed." And then we said, "We are not done." He said, "No, he said, it's one of the best theses I've ever read. It's not really my top three theses. I just said, it's not my top three theses. You have done a good job. Chapter 9, chapter 10, he was just saying your references. But you see, I had to put it at and I came through a lot. I came with a lot of scars. I came with a lot of pain. I came with a lot of angst, anger, like I came with a lot of, a lot of fears. But you know what I did? I channeled that into, I turned it into the fuel, the energy to drive me to success. And that's what you should do. Tell yourself you are going to succeed and you will. I'm going to stop there because I think there's a lot I can talk about because I don't want to take your time, but you want to ask me any question or can I take one or two questions? Or you want to sit down?
I think we should just write it down.
All right, okay. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. A round of applause. Thank you so much, Wenga Shadari. And forgive me, I didn't mention that earlier. I was trying to see if I could do it for him, but yes, he's the founder of the All African. Okay, they were founders, but they did founders. Yeah. So I really learned a lot. And, I want to believe that because of course one thing that is very important in the book Atomic Habits talked about systems. It's the system that produces the result. With some things he has said, you definitely can build the system to, integrate yourself, culturally, and all that. But of course, if you have any questions, please pencil it down. Do well to pass it, be taking those questions, or be ready to ask those questions when we get to the. Just write it down so you don't forget when we get to the question and answer segment. We'll definitely be able to look at it. For those online, please do well to, if you're in the group, if you're an APOD member, just go to the group and type your question. But if you're not, just it's on YouTube, go to the comment section and type your questions. be able to take those questions. But quickly, we're going to the next segment. Another successful PhD from the University of Sheffield here too. Will definitely be taking us through another very interesting segment. He'll be looking at overcoming the challenges of graduates and making the best of available resources within this institution all around us. Dr. Philip Obasoha will be taking this section. Dr. Philip, with a round of applause as he comes to the stage.
Very much. I really want to appreciate Dr. Benga for this laudable uh, society. Honestly, I want to get to understand that he was a pioneer, and I said that was a great move, and it's really affecting it despite the COVID. But he's standing strong. And also, Dr. Ajero, I appreciate you for holding on to that triumph period. You know, when COVID came, it was like as if but here we are today. Dr. Winga was talking, he said he came here as a mature student. Actually, when you come in as a mature student, yes, you know, there'll be a lot of things. Yeah, you're reading with people who are children there, but at least you know why you came. One thing, you know why you came. Um, I I had my third master's degree in 2011-12, University of Birmingham. Uh, when I went to do my PhD, it was the third of four. Between that 2012 and I looked for supervisors here and there. It was a bit stressful and almost talks about is in Canada, is it in US, is it in Asia, is it in Australia, in UK. But I was passionate about UK anyway because of the passion. So a lot here. But it was that time. And I got my sponsorship and I got my supervisor. The person that was looking for one supervisor, three supervisors. I remember one of my colleagues in the office, he said, "Oh, I'm looking for supervisor as well. So I'm looking for you. They want to supervise you." So I enjoyed it because I had our support. And also people say you're having a conflict with your supervisor. I flew with my supervisors very had a very good. That is why when the doctor said his experience may not be your experience. So and it's true. It is true that you can go to supervisor. You can. And when I came in, I already had a focus on what I want to do because you must be able to set where you are going and divide the offset into a segment to lead you there. I had in mind to publish 8 papers before my graduation. I already set my horizon and I went all on it. It got to a time my supervisor said, "Philip, slow down." He said, "You are there's a say Harry Potter. There's Harry Potter." He said, "You're another you want to be another Harry Potter." I said, "No, please slow down, slow down, slow down." So that yeah. One of the things before I started in 2019 and by last year, September, my thesis was ready with 5 publications. My thesis was ready. I did my viva in December. So under 3 years, I tried.
Wow.
I think Siva was asking me, say, how did you do it? So what I'm trying to say is that focus is very focus, and from that 2020, I've been working as a fees contract for the university at the Marsh Center, that is Mathematics and Statistics Health, as a statistics tutor. So I have the opportunity of interacting with students and staff of the university that has issues with their analytical or statistical module or whatever, with a one-on-one. In fact, that center was what had the student during the COVID. You know, when the COVID came and there was a shutdown, and most people lost contact with their supervisors and lost contact with resources, lost contact with everything you could think. But we went straight to online, and it was the lifeline for the students to fall back on. So, and that brings me to the fact, to that point I'm trying to stress to us that there are many resources in the university that most of us don't really have idea about them. They don't have opportunity to access them. I know Dr. Gringa was talking about many of us from the African don't utilize this thing. I just noted beside, I said, work. You want to be a lot because, and coupled with the time management issue that I talked about, is that most of us who came from that side, you know how those of us who don't have sponsorship, particularly, and those who access also discover that you need to make ends meet. You need to, so the time, you don't really have time to go for holiday. That you are, so some of them like in the care home. So by this time, weekend like this Saturday, now, if when I go to the light, I don't, when I look around, I don't see black around on Saturday. Why? Because they are, yeah, they're working. But however, there are supports. There are things that will help you in the university. There are several resources. Like I've mentioned, Match 301, I've been there for 3 years now. I scarcely see black coming in here because they are not aware. The university set up that center is this academic skills and development center, which is a kind of devoted to help students who are struggling in different aspects of the academics. Have a this if you go there, it's opposite student union, building, that building. You go there, have a lot of you have a lot of skills available one on one. Even if you through your muse, if you Google and say match 301 or 301, it takes you there. So it's linked to your muse. You can take advantage of it and book on one. There are people who are there is a resource personnel who are there to push you through whatever you're finding difficulties in. Book an appointment one on one with them. Is it academic writing? A lot. Then I will teach you on what to do, how to go about your assessment, teach you how to go about your software, statistical software usage. You have access to them. A lot of them. You don't need to pay them. You don't pay anything. You don't need to pay them. You don't have to pay me on it. I work 7 hours a week, so they pay me on that. So you don't pay anything. Just book and come in and have your time with whoever is on duty. So it's a very great resources for every student to make use of. So, and I would like to see them, most of you, yeah, because some of them not, a lot of people are struggling with their research work. They are struggling with their statistical analysis. They are struggling with their statistical software. They are struggling with their study skills. They are struggling. Chinese make use of that place effectively. When a Chinese student sit with you, they track everything you have in your brain. And they sit with you and ask questions and questions and questions. Once they utilize the opportunity, they try to put everything you have with you there. So it's open to you to make use of it. And Dr. Chima was talking about uh, reading wide, yeah. And another aspect that is the very important that equally is reference manager. Reference manager. You can't, if you are a PhD or you are a master's student, you don't know how to use reference manager. You are cheating yourself. You are cheating yourself. A lot. And in the library, you have the opportunity to attend a workshop, and I will teach you how to use. At this time, you can't be compiling resistance now and hoping to come and begin to arrange them. You have the reference manager that will do that for you. Align yourself with and understand you have things like EndNote, Zotero, have a Mentoring, and other very good one. Zotero is a free reference manager. You can download it from the
And
web.
then it's good.
Mental is also free. Yeah. And the university have them on the software so which you can equally download directly. And when you are reading, like Zotero has an annotating mode in it, where, for example, if you open your PDF, or you have already saved the material from your Zotero library, and you open it from the Zotero library and you are reading, you can annotate. If you underline or you highlight the page, at the time, and when you finished, then open the annotation. He gives you everything you have lined up. He extract them out for you. So you can easily download that and have a copy of what you have highlighted, which you are going to edit, maybe paraphrase it and add it to your work. It makes you go faster in whatever you are doing. And the other thing I want to talk about is that, like I told you, that I make use of publication very well, and also the university also can support you with that. As a PhD student, one of the things you will um, aspire to is to publish, particularly when you want to be in academics or thereabout, you need to publish. And one of the things that will help you is publication through open access. And the university is very passionate about that. And they have a fund for that. They have a link with many publishing company outfits through which you can publish your work. And they have some journals that you can publish freely um, as a student or a staff of the university. So open access is a media where you could publish and, have your publication can be freely accessed anywhere worldwide. And that's what you need as one that is just coming in. So you need to expose to the general public, the entire globe. So the channel which you could utilize very well. And in addition, if you don't have a fund, the university can also fund you if you apply. They have postgraduate research sessions. They have and in addition to, sometimes they also come up with this what they call postgraduate scholarship, publication scholarship. I was awarded postgraduate publication scholarship last year for 3 months. So I was paid stipend. Uh, the university stipend was 1,400 naira, 400 pounds, not naira. I was given 4,400 pounds for 3 months to translate my thesis to. So that's what I'm working on. present. It's available, and recently the deadline just ended in this December 31st. The next one will soon come. So you can make use of them, make use of the opportunity. And yeah. Some people, most of all, some people just ignore you. Just see, they just sleep with it. Those things are available there. Utilize it and open the door if you get it. Amen. So the other thing, or maybe just for time, is that the the writing skill which you have English language. You talked about studying or reading French language and all that. Yeah. So the English language center is, we came from somewhere where our yes, but when you come in here, you discover that yes, there's a lot. So English language center have a lot of DP, that is a doctoral development program, this that will help you how to write academically, how to present papers, how to they're all there. So you could, and some of them can take a whole semester, about 12 weeks of lecture. Yeah. Okay. So you could have just as much as possible try to get yourself enrolled in most of those, but it will help you tremendously to be able to get to where you are going. So I've talked, Dr. Jima, I've talked about time management, so I won't go into that anymore. So that is one of the things that you should avoid is procrastination. Procrastination. If you have your goals, that's one aspect that I had very, very good rapport with my supervisor. At every meeting, I set a goal, and when I come, I meet my goal. So we're flowing just like that. I remember when I was going for my Bible, I was waiting in the office for them to come out, usher me to pick me to the slaughter room. And while we were talking, he said, "Philip, say, go there. Your work." He said, "I can tell you did 99% of your work on the work. You did 99% of the work. Say, go and do your work." So what am I saying there is that when you set your goals, meet them, then try as much as don't procrastinate. And it is not just I like what Doctor said, that there are times that he has to take off time. Yeah. I don't think the way I take off my time is the spiritual aspect. That's where I'm a very spiritual person. So I'm a minister of the gospel. So I I, I utilize that aspect. When I leave my study rooms like a hen that leaves its incubation. When the hen when they leave their incubation, let out the one renew. And that's what I do when I leave my study to the church or to where I am. When I come back, I am renewed. My memory is renewed. So it may not necessarily be this is what you want to do anyway. I'm not saying you bet. But if you feel that can work for you, why not? So I'm not regretting it, and it helped me a lot. So there are the time during the COVID, when the COVID came, I was supposed to have statistical methodological training. That was recommendation for me. Three methodological training. I was supposed to go, but COVID came and everywhere shut down, and I couldn't access anywhere to take it. I have to on YouTube to have to go into to read them myself. So there are some things that ordinarily when I'm home, I leave the place. When I come back, I'm renewed. So thank you very much.
Wow, that was really. It's another round of applause. That was amazing. We learned a whole lot. But then, uh, I don't know. Do we have any other? I was expecting at least the first one or two. Do you have any other? Okay, who rounded his PhD? Yeah. So we would just because we plan to collect as much as we can. So I'm not sure he prepared for this, but I was expecting him. I was expecting Nancy, but Nancy told me she had something going on exactly at the same time, so she will try her best to see if she can rush in. So uh, just please come, whatever it is, just share it lavishly with us. Whatever tips you can add to the avalanche of knowledge that we've got here so far. Before we go to the question and answer, we use that period while he's talking to just, and for those who pencil it down, for those who just want to pass it as a paper, you can just pass it to the prompt, and we'll be taking as many questions as we can. If you wrote it down, we'll be taking it to around the same time. Can you just introduce yourself and then anything you share with us? I'm glad to listen.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. I was just going to start at the back and then see what I did questions. Uh, so to introduce myself, I have to start getting comfortable with using the job title. But personally, I'm not really a fan of titles, but I just have to use it. So to introduce myself, my name is Dr. Ayodeji from the Department of SHA. So my research was basically centered around health service research slash public mental health. And I came in October 2018. I think this is, I know quite well. I think we met, I think the person we met was during the inauguration of the Ghanaian Society. And I think I came in the capacity of, if I remember correctly, I came in the capacity of a social media officer for the Nigerian Society then. And we were trying as much as possible to prop up the Nigerian society so that way there's a lot of collaboration with other societies. And I think building on what everyone said, as what you said about the need for networking, I think it was one of the things that helps us gain my own foundation, my own drive in the university campus. Most times, I think I worked within my own resources. So my own resources were, as most people will know, Elvis and James. Uh, I was never like a like you call me to the office at 10 o'clock. I'm not going to be there. 10 o'clock you won't find me there. And it wasn't because I wanted to be that way, but because I had other things to do. I think highlighted it as international students, you have a lot of things to do. You come in and then you want to work because you have a lot of deadlines, you have things that you need to survive. And for me, there was that um, sponsorship wasn't really, it did not really attract, or it did not really come to try to find ways to balance and balance work as well. So most times from work, I'd wake up early in the morning as I'm carrying this like 6 o'clock, get into work, finish work at 7:30, and then from work, like I used to walk around Microsoft, there's a special needs with us for 3 years. So from work, I'd come down into the office, and obviously, physically, you do not have. I do not have the time to kind of like just jump into the PhD work. So I'll give myself an hour break. So I just went to the computer area, try to like recharge myself, and then crack on with the work. So I'll give myself a target. Okay, for 5 hours, I'll do this particular work, and that really helped because I was able to balance quite a number of things. And there were challenging periods, no doubt about it. There were challenging periods during the PhD process, and one of the challenging periods was when after I'd done the confirmation review, and you hear the feedback that the examiners will tell you, and it felt like my supervisor was going this way, and I was going. And that showed in the confirmation review, like even though like I think I got commended on like the writing, I got commended on the like the speaking, kind of like harmonizing my ideas, bringing them together. That was kind of lacking. So we had like this back and forth correspondence with our supervisors. And one of the comments I still remember one of the comments that the examiner said was, whilst you're writing this good, we do not think that you're up to the standard of a PhD, you like PhD level. And for me, I kept on processing it. I processed and processed and processed. So after they gave me, I think they gave me like a month or a couple of, I don't know how long they gave me, though, but I did I did the confirmation review in November. I don't know what's with me in November because my confirmation review was in November. I got November. So I did the confirmation review in November, and I think I was given 2 months. So 2 months was the end of January. And I kid you not, it was like second week in December. I remember I just come from like a gig. So like the judge said, Judge is a side musician or part-time musician. And same with me as well. So I picked up a couple of skills. And because I picked up those skills, I had the opportunity to go to different events to go and play at this event. So that was this event. So and at that event I was really, really feeling myself. And but when that comment, I remember that comment just brought me back to earth. Brought me back to earth. So this is me having, I think, a couple of days to January, to the end of January, a couple of days to actually work on this feedback so that I can show that I am paid. I finished the gig on a Friday. No one knows this. I think only a handful of people know this. Friday night, I went back into the office in the Innovation Center. I stayed there. Luckily for me, I had coach, I had this. So I stayed there, cracked on, looked at the work, did it, read a couple of other people's work, read a lot of like subject area, did everything. Saturday, the same thing. Sunday, I was still there. So I stayed in the office from Friday to Monday. Monday morning, 8 o'clock, I'd already left. Submitted it to my supervisors on Sunday night, like early hours of Sunday night, leading into Monday morning. And I kid you not, before then, I've been having like, even my supervisor was almost of the opinion that I think the exam was right. So imagine you hear that from real supervisors and you also hear that from the examiners. You would want to, it's almost like you want to just give up on that. And I remember there was a big fight like I had like even I think my parents were like, you can still do it like this is like I said, no. Like I tried to be optimistic, try to tell myself that there are other options because as PhD students we get this mindset whereby we think it's PhD or nothing. And because we get to that mindset it's PhD or nothing, we do not recognize that it adds an additional layer of stress to us. So I changed my mindset. I said, no, it's not though. It's not my life. Like there are other things I can do. Like at least I have a perspective. I'm going to do anything. So when I submitted it back to my supervisors on Sunday morning, I was anxiously waiting and waiting and waiting. And lo and behold, like a positive comment came. Ah, now I feel good. So I did the correction, submitted it, and I think a month later I was told that yes, you passed your confirmation. I look forward to it. But I still did not change my habits. So my habits was like still going to work, balancing it with school and everything. So for me, what carried me or what sustained me all through the PhD was not thinking that the PhD is like the Almighty. Obviously, we all believe we have religious. Some people are religious. Some people believe in high God. Yes. But for me, the way I place it, like I place God and then every other. So PhD is not come to God. So it's not going to be a case of even if things don't go well. As I said to myself, wherever there's life, there's hope. As long as you still live, still breathe, there's chance. Talk to people. There's nothing that's insurmountable for you. So I told myself that, and over time I got better. Like I even had the opportunity of publishing, even without like plenty rejection. So that's the story for another day. After rejection, after denials and everything, it's still like it feels like for PhD students, you start the program. The resilience was kind of at this level. And then over time, as you begin to encounter trials, as you begin to encounter challenges, it continues to grow and grow. And that's one of the benefits that you get from enrolling in the PhD program. And I finished the PhD program, glory to God. Um, me, I think Elvis would know, like during the course of the PhD program, I tried to think you all. I had time to relax, basically. So apart from the PhD itself, I tried to get into other things. I tried to draw, I tried to learn instruments, I tried to work with that. With very little time. So and I think one thing that I would leave for everybody who's kind of like at some level of the PhD journey is that you need to decide that there are like a lot of options. You need to decide if you're going to remain in academia, if you're going to go into industry, and then or if you have long-term goals, don't wait until you finish the PhD to say, okay, now I want to start this. Because once you do that, another challenge is waiting for you once you finish your PhD. And as PhD students, we're able to balance so many things, we're able to do so many things, and that's an advantage. So right now, it's important to have an idea of what you want to do, like your long-term target, and start working towards them. Start building the foundation, start making sure that the blocks that you can step on, elevate and it's a network. Go for those conferences. As Dr. Pima said, the university has many resources. Tap into them. If you want to learn how to code, you can use Dr. Philip. He will tell you, okay, you can even push you to where you need to go. Because we live in a world whereby we cannot just wait until when everything is perfect. There's never going to be a time when things will be perfect. Like you want to be done with the PhD and to get the doctor, I need to do that. But that doesn't happen that way. It's the same way when you're breathing in oxygen, you're still learning how to wear your shoes. You're still learning how to tie your shoelace. It's not like as you tie your shoelace, it's not good. So many things that you do at the same time. So incorporate those things whilst you're doing a PhD. So that when you finish the PhD, you are not at the same level that you were when you started. So I think I don't want to go beyond the time that was not allocated to me.
You so much. Thank you. It was definitely a very, very interesting point added to this. I would invite Silver to the question and answer session. Silver happens to be part of the executives for this cycle. He's been here. He was part of the last executives also. If you don't have it written down, I think you would have to just conduct it. And I have no questions. I can write it down. So probably he will just conduct them. And you could ask basically from the first session. Dr. George is still here, Dr. Benga, they can still answer, Dr. Philip, and of course, Dr. IODG. They will definitely answer any question you have around this space. Maybe you start with
Thank you, Wisdom. I'm Silver. I'm a PhD student in the School of Biosciences. I come from Rwanda, and this is my second year starting my career with a lot of struggles. And I'm the final year with no chapter finished. So yeah. So I always think whatever comes by the end of my subscription, I have something to write and then okay, so you've had so many talks at the moment, and I would like to ask if you have some questions, you should raise your hand. For those online, I don't know, maybe
yeah.
will try to read the questions online. But to start with, I will start with myself. So I have a question for Dr. Benga. And when I came to Sheffield, I found this app and I thought, okay, just join because I'm an African student. And it was at some point we were struggling to have the executive and we were asking ourselves why actually APOG was formed. And now you said one of the reasons was to help students which are struggling with the supervisors and people have those kind of problems. I wonder what are the powers that APOG have to be able to move one student from one department to another. And how can we actually help our members? Because I have been a member of the committee, but I didn't really realize how strong our committee is, or how strong our organization is. So how what can APOC do to help students which are struggling? Because we don't know the vice chancellor anymore. We don't
Well,
have
that's a very good question. Exactly. I think the problem with people, which is also the reason why the ex-presidents are still involved, is because even when we were then, we had problems of engagement. And I think maybe in a way it helped that someone like me was part of the reality and set of people, someone that has a lot of experience dealing with people in government in different countries and all of that. And but the thing is that actually you don't need to have those experience to talk to the vice chancellor of this university. You don't. Because the first thing you need to understand, APOG is a student society,
yeah.
which means it has the imprimatur, it has the authorization and the validation of the university. So the university actually will support you in anything you want to do. So if you have an issue with people of your members, because you have a pastoral responsibility attitude towards members and towards every other person, if you have an issue, you are allowed step in and actually help. We didn't just help those who had problems with us. We helped with people who are about to be kicked out of their program because of TED fund. You remember, some of them had TED fund delaying their payment because they were on TED fund, sponsorship. TED fund, for those who don't know, because we are from Rwanda, TED fund is like Commonwealth scholarship, so there's a fund created by the Nigerian government, and anybody that has a PhD admission can go to school, and they will pay. At that time, TED fund had so many Nigerians here and in other universities in UK. But there was a lot of problem with sending the money down to pay. And the school actually decided that some of them were going to be sent back. And some of them actually were sent back. And one of them, you see, on the part of Clement, he actually stepped in. They stopped him at Manchester Airport when he came in. We had to step in, wrote a letter, we did everything. So I think it will also build your skills because even me, I had to learn how to deal with the university authority. It's one thing to deal with government people or deal with people in business. It's okay, dealing with university vice chancellors. We actually went to his office. And when we got there, he gave us audience. Because number one, when he saw that we were matured, well, that time we were lucky because I'm surprised that I invited Dr. Kamara. She's also, all of that, we just went and we stuck together. I think the other thing that helped us was that we went as a united front. We didn't go like Nigerians, we didn't go like Rwanda, Ghanaian, we went as people and they actually listened to us. And they actually complimented us because they didn't want they said they wanted us to make a change. So actually, the best answer to that question, we have given you a long narrative. We are the one that will decide that we want to help. The university is ready to support. Like about Dr. said, there are many ways the university want to support us. Once we want that support, let's go for it. If there are people that are having problems with paying their rent, if there are people having problems with tenants, we can support them. It's part of our job. Welfare pastoral work is part of our work. We're not just supporting each other because we're doing it. We need to support people when they have mental health. Mental health issue, I mean, Dr. Iliji talked about it. A lot of us struggle with mental health because one thing about PhD is a solitary course. You are your own. PhD is the only course you do that is solitary. You are the one that will figure out. I figured out how to use Penvivo by myself. Penvivo I used to analyze my data. I downloaded it, I couldn't use it. I somebody told me I should go and watch a video. That was And I had to watch a video. I spent hours watching the video to figure it out. Sometimes I always have to build resilience. So this is how you learn things by yourself. So we are the ones that have to embrace our charter. Our charter says we are in pastoral welfare. What the other word? What's the other word? We support one another. So we need to do that. So we can do that. And he seeks money for us to do it. Maybe you don't know.
No, no.
They do, actually. They have money. So one thing I would suggest, always schedule a meeting, like Dr. said. And Chinese students are very clear. They take all the things that's available. Always in the executive, always try and befriend people who are the custodians of the society. Go and befriend them. That's what we did. Befriend them, go there, say you want to have a meeting with them. Tell them you don't know how to do this. I will have a student who has a problem. They will give you the template. That's how you do it. So it's not just enough for us to talk about it. Go to the student union on Monday if the school is still on session. I say, I'm representing people. I would like to see how you can help us. What can you do for us? They will tell you so many things. You will be shocked. So that is one way you can do that. And if you need help in how to navigate any of these things, I'm still around. I can even come to Sheffield because of that. But I told you this is a lifetime thing for me. So I can bring myself here. I'm going to Portsmouth tonight. I want to be in Harlem Portsmouth at 2 a.m. So because I have a meeting later on. So I will go anywhere as long as it involves this. So if you need help, I can go. I can put you through it. That's one of the things I'm hoping to do. I'm speaking with wisdom. I mean, I'm going to bring in Divine. Divine is also lecturing at in present before you, lecturing at all and others. And then this is it. This is Kingsley, all of them. So we have agreed that we'll continue to provide the support for you guys. If you have any problem navigating the barriers, administrative, we will help you overcome it. So that's the only we can do. I hope that answers your. Ask the question before you ask it.
No, I have one on. So anybody else before I go to wisdom? I think he has more.
I'll pass the history one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just backward.
Yes.
Any other question?
Go ahead, ask your questions.
Okay, I think my question, because of time, I'll try to keep it very short. There's been the talk of mental health and the challenges of PhD. It's very tough. It's you alone. All that. I really want to ask, well, what's the importance of a support system? What I mean is not just our society, because of course it would be very, very. It's not every time I probably call it, but let's hear that. Say my supervisor just told me things like that. What's the importance of maybe for me, for example, I'm single, I'm not married. So, but they're scaring me. Before you get to year three, and before you get to maybe he's saying entering, right? And he doesn't have his. So I'm wondering if he goes home, he has a wife, very pretty wife at that. He has someone to cry to. I don't have anybody to cry. So please, what's the importance of the support system? Do you advise maybe I create one? It doesn't have to be a wife, but I create a very strong support system in this case, or you think it's something like iron, like you took it yourself. I could, can I actually take it myself? Because I'm on myself exactly at this moment.
I would like Dr. Westo to answer that question, but before he does, let me just. That's a very, very good question, actually. I will use myself as an example. Now, one of the things I did, maybe because I'm a natural networker, I don't know, but one of the things I did was that I spent the first 3 months in this town. I never came to Sheffield before. I was just, anytime I meet somebody that is black, I would stop them on the street, I would engage them. That's how I built up a database of potential hip hop members, including Dili Anumba, professor in medicine. Dili Anumba is a professor, he's a Nigerian, and he's a top gun there, big man. And he actually gave me, I met him, I said, I thought he was a student, because I mean, my children, I just assumed he was so, no, I mean, because I said, hey, professor, he said, so we started talking, and we became friends. I found out that I actually knew my late wife. My late wife was just a year his junior at Uniben, and I didn't know. And the moment I met him, a lot of things changed. So randomness is very important. When you are a student in this country, when you are even anywhere, be random. Don't. I talked about silos. I could talk a lot about that. Random. I will walk up the street. When I saw this guy, I wanted to greet him. When I saw you, but because my brother and I were talking, I would like if my brother was not with me, I would have stopped. And we actually exchanged. We looked at him. I looked at him intently. So you have to be intentional. I was like, oh, this guy is, this guy. I was asking questions. But my brother and I were busy having a conversation. I couldn't. And then when I saw him here, I said, thank God. But I will have stopped him on the road. I would even have invited him to this country. If the reason I came early is not because my brother lives in Sheffield, I would have brought people if I had met people like that. So randomness is very key. So you need to build up. I didn't have anybody in Sheffield, but I can stay. I have people that wanted me to stay in Sheffield. I told them they paid my hotel. I have people that can stay in their house in this Sheffield. So building, whether it is church, I was going to church for ladies ceremony, I was going to church for people even thought I was a Ghanaian. Because I was very close to the Ghanaian brothers and the sisters because I was attending all their function. So you need to make time for that. Actually to help your mental health. Yeah, when you reach out of those things. So you may even meet your wife there. You don't, it's true because and if you meet your wife, talk to us. There's a lot of ladies, a lot of band that look for husband. So that's it. So reach out. Don't be afraid. If you see anybody on the street, try and ask them a question. Stop them. Collect their numbers. If they give you, honestly, you'll be shocked. You will be shocked. I met a girl that knew Buhari's story. I used to tell this story. I was just walking on the street, and the girl just looked at me. I was like, why are you looking at me? I just come here. I said, do you know me? Let me say, I said, this girl said he knows you. Okay. And then eventually she came in, and her father was, this what I mean, her father was having problem with a big military guy. He have something here, some and she told me that I don't know your dad. Eventually she linked with the Aristotle, Sarah. And Sarah was giving me a lot of business. And actually, when we went to pass the National Social Protection Policy in Nigeria, which was based on my thesis, that was what helped me. And if I had looked at her, see, what I told myself, I'm not going to play around with women because I wasn't really doing it because of my children. I don't want to give that example, but I will be. I said, I made up my mind that women is not going to be active. Even though I don't drink alcohol, but I started drinking alcohol actually when I came to PhD because when you are at the college, they will give you wine. I would drink. So yeah, I would just drink wine and I would go to my room and say, God help me. I'm telling you. So I met the girl and the girl really helped me. So randomness, if I had looked at her like that was a woman I saw in front of the innovation. She just was talking. I was seeing her talking and leaving a leaflet. Then the leaflet fell on the ground and I picked it up. And I wanted to give to her. And I said, she said, oh, yeah. And I asked her, what are they doing? She told me they were doing an enterprise in that building opposite Star. As a small building that they're doing an enterprise. They're looking for students, PhD and master students, to be part of a scheme. They will form a company and then they will give them money. They will do a kind of random trial, random control. They will set up a company in the lab. They will be watching us. I joined. And the team I joined won. And we had people from all over the country. In my team, we had people from China, Malaysia, Hong Kong. Now we are talking about how to do solar power. One of the members from Nigeria, how to do solar power panels. Can you see? I just met somebody in front of Sky because I was trying to recruit members for APOG. Yeah. I had that energy. Not everybody has that energy. That's the truth. And I wasn't bothered about PhD. And I like what he said. Me, my PhD was not my life. If I didn't get it, I was ready to leave and just go without a PhD or I didn't get an MPhil. Yeah. But I knew I was not going to get an MPhil as well. So randomness is very important. Reach out, break out, and don't be afraid. Honestly, don't be afraid. I think many of us are afraid. We're afraid of being misunderstood, of being, maybe tagged or labeled as African. Don't be afraid. No, don't be afraid. All right, I think your question.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Is any other question? We'll just continue at the
Yeah,
end
yes.
of the session.
I think we are almost done.
We will just have to move to the very last thing on the
Yeah.
menu. Steven, thank you very much.
The ladies are quiet. No? The ladies, they're not saying anything. All the women,
Maybe at the after
Yeah.
have time to talk. But quickly, I would invite for the very last thing on the menu. Of course, it's not the least. It's actually arguably the most important. Yes, I would quickly just talk about it. I will invite the Mr. James Oguta, if I pronounce it well. He's actually the secretary of the All African Postgraduate Research Society for this session, or this cycle, and he would actually be discussing on research collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know whether I can share my slide. No, it's tricky.
So
We can share them.
you could just
You can share this
share
data.
it to the group.
Yeah, so that's so now come again.
Just keep
Okay.
going. Let's see.
Yeah, so I will talk through them anyhow.
No, just go ahead. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so
Connects to something else.
as I said, my name is James Oguta, and I'm sure that we've interacted very much online. I'm from Kenya. Yes, I'm Kenyan. I'm passionate about Africa as well. Yeah, so I'm a health economist, currently studying at SHA. Second year, a PhD student in public health economics and decision science, working on a project on financial risk protection, I think related to social protection as well, for uncommunicable diseases in Kenya. And so I've listened to the presentations from each of us. Thanks, Benga. Thanks, George, and Ayo. We are all, this is, I think we are all in agreement that these are some of the things that we miss. It's unfortunate that we know each other online. I think I'm seeing him for the first time in person. I think he, the other guy sat the other side. I think your brother. No. Yeah, but so we need to connect more. We need to get to know each other more so that we can utilize our strength. I want to digress a little bit, with your permission, wisdom, to talk about something rather personal but important, related to an experience that Benga shared, what a fog can do. Personally, in my first year as part of the doctoral training, the first year, we are supposed to take modules worth 60 credits. The university. I mean, there is a lot that can impact people back home. We need a framework, and that's why in my last slide I have a question like, so what about all this networking, this resource? I think we need to think about connecting, being chefing, because that's where our impact will count. Collaborations in research, grant writing, consultancies during and after studies in. I currently work as a consultant for different organizations, and I'm still looking for work. Um, Something is likely to happen with WHO. I've worked for UNICEF, and still working with organizations in Africa. Here we have people who are sometimes struggling doing work that would be, they spend so much time of study. Is it possible for us to think about having a pool of people that, we can bid for some of these opportunities? Because recently, last year, we were to apply, there was a malaria consultancy that was advertised somewhere. And we noticed that these are skills that we already possess. But at that time, the PhD was so demanding in the first year. So we could, as a fog, we believe that we need to be in our minds to begin doing some of those things. Joint research publications, sometimes not even related to our PhDs. I mean, I would want to do something on climate change, just a paper led by one of their four members, right? Let's give our opinion about, governance, politics, you know. Uh, I mean, we can be able to do that sometimes, even through commentaries, through a blog. Those are some of the ways in which we can make our presence. I mean, if you write a paper and your definition is a fog, I mean, those are some of the true things that would propel us and make us, uh, go far. Mentorship of upcoming researchers. I think this is already started, been going on. We need to cement it. People joining master's program, we need to already like begin posting them to PhDs. I'm sure that maybe our circles they know an opening somewhere, but because we have no one to share with, we'll just let it pass. I mean, sometimes just forwarding it makes a big difference. Now, I will share about three personal initiatives um, we currently working on that I know can work, and one is research collaboration. So in 2021, I thought about people that we schooled together with my college of health sciences in Moi University in Kenya. Okay. So, but they are working in research. So I collected all these guys and like, so can we write a paper on Rwanda? So we did a paper of cesarean section, Rwanda, just a simple paper, logistic regression analysis. And we got that published last year with a group of about 8, 10 guys. But people are placed in different places. Now that was evidence that it is possible for people to think network and bring output, because suppose we 10 people who have a life mind, everyone has an idea leading, each of us collaborates in 10 papers. Just give yourself 6 months, think about 2 papers per person per year. What is the research output? Once you have 10 people with PhDs who have demonstrated that they work together, there is a grant that is, you are to apply to do something in Africa. I mean, what is it that we cannot? So that is the kind of thinking that I wanted to kind of incite us to perhaps begin exploring. The other thing that is here to me is mentorship. So I used to work as a tutorial fellow in my former university. Of course, I left just before joining. So at undergraduate, there is what I desired that I would have been given. And one of those was someone to, build my capacity and just enlighten my eyes on the opportunities that come with research. So I thought about an idea and advertised a mentorship for undergraduate students in third year and fourth year. And so uh, we got like 18 applicants. I talked to a few friends of mine and they were willing to have mentees. So we designed like 6 research projects, have had 3 students per group and a mentor supporting them. So they were kind of writing. I mean, that is not kind of tech um, of the way I anticipated, but it's something that we are trying with a few of the friends to kind of revive. So right now we have like 10 of them that hopefully the next few months we can do 3 papers. uh, But it's something that, if you do that at undergrad, you have a paper, and that has a lot of impact on your career. So lastly, what I would want to say after all this is that together we are stronger. Everything should not be here at Sheffield. They are both social, economic, and all other benefits of networking. Outcome is much more useful outside beyond our stay in Sheffield. So let us be very much uh, in that. Thank you very much.
A round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. That's definitely the last thing on the menu. And all said and done, we'll definitely use or make use of everything we've learned. I would admonish everyone who is still in the process. Go back immediately, put into practice the things you've heard. Procrastination is one thing I've heard. You can set goals, but make sure you meet. Uh, I also added to that by saying that per day, make sure that you meet that target. Even if you go to work or whatever you're doing, meet your target per day. And also the talk of research, research groups, align yourselves. I always advise members to reach out to you're in that particular group, for example, WhatsApp group. There are lots of people there. You can reach out for mentorship. Me, I'll definitely reach out. If I write something, I need someone to help me read this thing or persuade it. I'll disturb everybody. Uh, that's why we are a family, all right? But as promised, we'd have to round up almost immediately. I want to thank everyone who has been able to join us in person and those who have been online. We've had a consistent online audience, and we also appreciate you for those who join in person. But then again, we are the other Postgraduate Research Society. You can follow us on LinkedIn. We are there. You know those who easily go look at our profiles and look to connect with on a particular thing, in a particular area. Of course, LinkedIn is like an online TV these days. Also, we are on Facebook. We are also on Twitter. And then we have a WhatsApp where you could have direct access to some of those who have talked today. And most importantly, the last section we talked about collaboration for research is something we're going to be taking to the next level. So as many who are in a particular niche or area, even if it's 2 or 3 people, it's easier to target one thing and produce a research work in that area than you doing it alone. If maybe you're really focused on your work here in school, you could collaborate 2 or 3 people, even 4, depending on the team. It's something that everybody will be taking going into the next cycle. But of course, after now, please, if you're not in a haste, would love to interact. And we're going to a very close by area to actually have 1 or 2 things. Like I said, it's not like my continent where everything just go to one mama or something and everything is there. But here it's very wonderful. And for those who have also been guests, we didn't pay them. Please let me put it out there. They are all doing this for the love of the society and the willingness to give back. Think school did not approve anything to give them. We had to share the confines of the rules they stipulated scared every one of us, and we stayed at the confines of the system. So we appreciate them greatly because it takes an open heart and a giving heart to actually come and share your secrets and work for you. And they would also permit us to reach them personally, to ask questions and to interact. Thank you very much, everyone. And we'll proceed to the next venue. For those who are online, thank you so much. With this and by the way, it's online. You could just go back online. Yes, I said the link is already there. I think I'll share my details on the platform. Okay, amazing. So you could go and watch the session again if you missed anything. It's
Yeah.
recorded. You go watch the session again, beginning to the end. Thank you very much, and let's keep spreading the good word. Yeah, the All African Postgraduate Research Society.
Wait, man.